Hey guys, it's me and welcome to day 7, the Vloggerino's Vlogmas extravaganza. And I apologize ahead of time for the quality of this video. It's not that great because I'm on my camera on my laptop. So, might not be that great. I don't know how great the sound quality is either, but YouTube, for some reason, is taking forever on loading things. So I'm just doing it on here and we'll cross our fingers. So for day 7, um, the prompt is to talk about your favorite holiday movie. I have several. One of my favorites is Somebody's Calling. One of my favorites is It's a Wonderful Life. And It's a Wonderful Life, I love it because of the message that it gives. Like, here's a man, George Bailey, who he's helped everybody his entire life, and his uncle loses this deposit, this $8,000 that he's going to deposit, and he thinks he loses it. But I'm not going to give you spoilers in case you haven't seen it. But he has lost it. So, anyways, no spoilers. He's lost it. So he loses this money, and George Bailey is like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?" And Mr. Potter, the meanest man in town and the richest man in town, um, is not going to cut him any slack because they've been button heads ever since the beginning of time. So he's not going to give him any slack, and he puts an arrest warrant out for him, and he's going to jail, and there's going to be a scandal, and George Bailey is at the end of the ropes, and he doesn't know where he's going to get this money from to cover this. He has a life insurance policy it's worth $500 or $5,000, not enough to cover this. And he's at the end of his rope, and he's gonna jump in the river and take his life. And then Clarence, his guardian angel, comes down, who's been watching his whole life story, comes down and jumps in to save him. And then George Bailey says, it'd be better if I wasn't alive. And then Clarence says, "Okay, well, let's show you." And then he comes to realize that, mm-mm, that that look at what you meant to all these people, and look, if you weren't here, look what would have happened to these people. Look at how their circumstances would have changed. And it's just such a nice, wholesome movie that always just makes me feel like it always cries at the end. Oh, the end always makes me cry every single time when teacher says, when a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. I cry every single time. Every single time. I love it. Every year, me and my mom, we watch it. We make hot cocoa. We get in our pajamas. We get under the blankets. We each get a blanket and we get all cozy. It's so nice. That's one of the traditions that we have, that me and my mom have every year. And my father would always say that it's a garbage movie. He didn't like Christmas, but I love it. I love the movie, and I really just liked Jimmy Stewart, who is from Indiana, Pennsylvania, and he just seemed like he was like a down to earth kind of guy. So I liked him. And I also thought that every time I watch that movie, I always say Donna Reed was just beautiful. She was so pretty in that movie. And she gathered everybody up, everybody in town, was telling them what was wrong. Everybody was giving money to help because he's helped so many people. But I love that movie. It's one of my favorites. Another one that I love, and it doesn't have any message, it's just hilarious, is um, Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation. There is not one thing that is wrong with that movie. Like, there's some movies, mostly every movie, I can be like, well, what the hell? Why? Um, but not that movie. Like, it's seriously everything about that movie. It's just funny. And it's not even like Chevy Chase is hilarious in it, but everybody else is funny. And then there's just like little lines that don't pop out immediately, but then after watching it a couple times, you're like, "Oh, that part is hilarious." Why did I think about like the one part whenever whenever there's like that squirrel stuck in the tree and Aunt Bethany's like, "Do you hear something? I think I hear something. You hear that squeak?" And her husband's like, "You couldn't hear a dump truck driving through a nitroglycerin plant." That. Or like when the cousin Eddie is outside in his little half robe and he's he's dumping out his septic tank and he's like, "Time to clean the shitter." That even the part even the part where everybody's heading out to go Christmas shopping and they forget about Clark because he's up in the attic putting away presents. And he he's stuck up there. And so he's trying to find something to put on. So he puts on like that stole, but then he puts on that turban, and he's just sitting there with the side view like, "Mhm." And he's watching with the turban on, and he's watching the movies and getting all sentimental. But seriously, the fact that he has that turban on is what kills me every time. But everything about that is just like, or whenever Aunt Bethany comes in and she's like, "Is your house on fire, Clark?" And he's like, "Bethany, no, it's not on fire. Those are just Christmas lights." "Okay, don't throw me down, Clark." "Don't throw me down, Clark." Is just classic. Like everything about that movie is perfection. Also is Christmas Story. Now, Christmas Story, and I don't know if you all can see it, but up there, my father had a little. It's a big B. It's that Red Rider BB gun. So I love that movie too, because and once again, that movie is just. I love that movie because every time I watch it, I'm always like, you know what? It was so simple back then. Like life was so simple. Like if you were a kid, you just had to worry about being a kid. You didn't have to worry about, like being snatched up or drugs or any of that. It was just like a simpler, innocent time. I love that. I love that movie. There's so many good scenes in that one too. My favorite has to be whenever they deliver the whenever they deliver the major award, the leg lamp. And first of all, he says to the guy, he says, "What's in there?" And the guy goes, "I don't know." And then he says, "Well, what is it?" And he goes like that. He just goes That's just a mind. That's just like something nobody would ever think of to be like, that's funny. But of course, I think it's funny. That's something that me and my good Judy Terry share. Although she does it even more. She likes if you ask her what her favorite part of a movie is, it's always the most obscure, like the most obscure parts of a movie that you'll be like, I don't even remember that. And she'll be like, that's my favorite part. But also then whenever they're throwing everything and but before that he says, "Oh, it's look at that. It's Italian. Fragile." Mm-mm. That whole movie is funny. Um, and then my fourth one that I'm gonna bring up is Love Actually. I love Love Actually. I mean, seriously. Why am I freezing? Is this a thumbnail? No, it's not because I have a lot of chin. The two guys that I like in that, I've always had a crush, a little bit of a crush on Colin Firth. Love him. And at the time, um, how was I going to say Howard Grant? Hugh Grant. But whenever my favorite part is whenever he's dancing, jump, jump in, da 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 da. Da, 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 da. I'm not going to sing it because I don't owe it. I don't own that. And if the Pointer Sisters want to come after me, they're going to get roughly 22.50. So, anyways, and then he gets caught. I like that. I like that part. But that whole movie is just gives me the warm and cozies. Like I'm not a big fan of romance, like 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 that romance doesn't look like romance. That looks like I don't know. That looks like surliness. But I'm not a big fan of like like sappy romance. P.S. I do like some Hallmark Christmas movies, but that movie it makes you feel all warm and toasty. Plus, I love an English accent. I don't know what it is about an English accent, but an English accent, I love it. So sexy, like Idris Elba. He's. Why was I gonna say he's Italian? He's English. I love it. I love that English accent. But that movie just gives me the warm and toasties. I love it. So those are some of my favorites. I'm really interested to hear everybody else's favorites. And maybe I'll have to go and watch one of those, make myself a little toasty cozy hot cocoa and watch some movies. So everybody have a great day and stay safe. Um, and always remember, put kindness out because you'll always get it back. And that's it. So I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good day.